Welcome to the Cheating Wife Stories channel. The acrid smell of motor oil hung heavy in the air as Melvin Richards slid out from under the 2008 Toyota Camry. His coveralls bore the fresh stains of another honest day's work. The marks of old grease could not be washed away. The clock on the garage wall indicated another late evening at Richards' Auto Repair. "Hey boss, you want me to lock up?" Carlos, his youngest mechanic, called from the front office. Melvin wiped his hands on a red shop rack. "Go ahead. I've got some paperwork to finish up." The familiar routine played out as his employees filed out one by one. The hydraulic lifts lowered with tired hisses, tool drawers clicked shut, and the ambient noise of the shop faded into evening silence. Only then did Melvin unlock his office door and close it carefully behind him. Behind the filing cabinet, obscured by a stack of repair manuals, sat his secret companion, a high-end laptop that seemed out of place among the grease-stained work orders and parts catalogs. The screen came to life. It displayed a series of crypto trading charts he'd been monitoring throughout the day. "Come on, matey," he muttered as he logged into his digital wallet. A familiar string of numbers and letters appeared. His Bitcoin address, holding what he considered his ticket to a better future. 10,000 of you, my little digital fortune." The sound of a car pulling up outside made him quickly minimize the window. Through the grimy office glass, he watched Blanca's BMW slide into its usual spot. His wife's silhouette remained in the car for a moment, foam pressed to her ear. "No, Julian, I can't meet tonight." Her voice drifted through the thin walls as she walked past his office. "He's still here." "Yes, I know. Next week, I promise." Melvin's jaw tightened, but he kept his focus on the screen. The familiar ache in his chest had become a constant companion, much like the growing distance between him and his family. "Dad." Troy's voice startled him. His 16-year-old son stood in the doorway, designer sneakers carefully avoiding the shop floor's oil stains. "Mom says dinner's ready. Are you coming home or what?" "Just finishing up some invoices," Melvin replied, closing the laptop. "How was school?" Troy asked, his eyes barely meeting his father's. "Whatever, just hurry up. Christine's got dance practice, and Mom needs to drop her off." The drive home was silent, with only the local radio station filling the quiet truck cabin. The familiar streets of their modest Angeles neighborhood felt increasingly foreign, as if the life he built was slowly slipping through his oil-stained fingers. At home, Christine sat at the dining table, thumbing through her phone with focused indifference. Blanca moved around the kitchen with practiced efficiency, her executive assistant persona still in place. The Hendersons called about their car, Melvin said, trying to break the silence. "Fascinating," Blanca replied, not looking up from plating store-bought rotisserie chicken. "Troy, honey, how was your college counseling meeting?" Blanca asked with a bright smile. "Mr. Dyer says with my grades, I could definitely get into USC. He's got connections in the admissions office." "Julian's been so helpful," Blanca beamed. "Such a successful man. And he still makes time to mentor students." Melvin pushed his food around his plate. "I thought we agreed I'd handle Troy's college planning. I've been saving." "What?" "From fixing mufflers." Christine snorted, finally looking up from her phone. "Mom says Mr. Dyer makes more in a day than you do in a month." "Christine," Blanca said softly, her tone not reproachful. Later that night, Melvin sat in his converted home office, really just a storage room, and pulled up his crypto wallet again. The numbers hadn't changed, but their potential burned brighter than ever. He recalled trying to explain it to Blanca once. "Digital currency is the future of finance, completely decentralized," he had said excitedly. "Stick to what you know. Cars need fixing. That's real. This internet funny money of yours is just fantasy," she had replied with a patronizing smile. Now, as he checked the current Bitcoin price, a bitter smile crossed his face. His fantasy was worth more than Julian Dyer would make in 10 years. But nobody knew that, not his dismissive wife, not his embarrassed children, not even his best friend Oliver. The weight of his secret fortune pressed against him like a physical thing, tempting him to reveal it all. Yet something held him back. Maybe pride, or maybe the growing suspicion that his family's love had become conditional on social status and bank balances. A text message lit up his phone. "Hey man, we need to talk. That silver Mercedes is becoming a regular sight on your street." It was Oliver. Melvin closed his eyes as the pieces of his crumbling life shifted into an increasingly clear picture. The question wasn't if his world would shatter, but when, and whether his secret digital fortune would be his salvation, or simply a front-row seat to watch it all fall apart. Moments later, Oliver's weathered pickup truck rattled into Richard's auto repair early Monday morning. He carried 2 cups of coffee from their favorite diner, a ritual spanning 20 years of friendship. The aroma of fresh dark roast cut through the ever-present scent of motor oil and rubber. "Black, 2 sugars," Oliver said, placing 1 cup on the workbench where Melvin was hunched over a transmission. "And something else you need to hear." Melvin straightened, his back cracking from hours bent over engines. "If it's about Mrs. Peterson's Volvo, I already ordered the parts." "Not about cars." Oliver leaned against the workbench, his expression unusually serious. "Been meaning to tell you for days now. That silver Mercedes S-Class was spotted outside your place again last night. 3rd time this week," Oliver continued. The wrench in Melvin's hand slipped, clattering against the concrete floor. He retrieved it slowly, buying time to steady his voice. "Probably one of Blanca's work friends. You know how she's been networking since her promotion at 11 o'clock. Oliver's eyebrows rose. He pulled out his phone, showing a photo of the car. "Mel, I've been in this business 30 years. That's a 2020 former custom order. Only one like it in this part of Ella." "How do you know that?" asked Melvin. "Because it was here last month. The guy needed an oil change and wouldn't let anyone but me touch it." Oliver's voice softened. "The owner's name is Julian Dyer. Ring any bells?" Melvin's coffee cup froze halfway to his lips. The name hung in the air like exhaust fumes on a windless day. An investment banker at Bradford and Associates, a real piece of work, spent the whole time on his phone, talking about some deal worth millions. Oliver hesitated, then added, "He kept mentioning someone named Blanca." The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as Melvin absorbed this confirmation of his growing suspicions. A memory surfaced from last week's parent-teacher conference at Troy's school. Julian Dyer had been there to discuss college recommendations. The way Blanca laughed at his jokes, touched his arm, and stood close enough for their shoulders to brush. It all clicked into place. "Dad." Troy's voice echoed through the garage. Melvin turned to see his son striding in. Troy wore a Lakers jersey he didn't recognize from their past. "Troy, you're supposed to be in school. I forgot my history textbook at home. Mom said you could drive me back to get it." Troy glanced at his phone. "She's in meetings all day." Oliver caught Melvin's eye. "I'll finish up the Johnson transmission." The drive home was tense, with Troy texting constantly. At a red light, Melvin glimpsed a group chat titled Lakers Night before his son quickly angled the phone away. Inside the house, while Troy rummaged upstairs, Melvin noticed changes he'd been too preoccupied to see. New art on the walls, a designer briefcase by the door that wasn't his, and a faint trace of unfamiliar cologne lingering in the air. "Found it," Troy called, thundering down the stairs. He paused halfway, phone pressed to his ear. "Yeah, I'm still coming. Mom says Mr. Dyer's getting courtside seats." "Dad?" "Nah, he's just giving me a ride. He doesn't know." Melvin stood perfectly still, letting the whispered conversation wash over him. His son's voice dropped even lower. "Mom says she's working late again." "Yeah, the usual cover." "No, he's clueless. Palace tickets are like $1,000 each. He could never." "Seriously, Chris, Dad. Such a..." The rest of the sentence was lost as Troy noticed his father standing there. An awkward silence filled the space between them. "Ready to go?" Melvin asked quietly. Back at the shop, Oliver was waiting. One look at Melvin's face told him everything. "You remember that Bitcoin stuff you were into?" Oliver asked suddenly. "The digital money you tried explaining years ago." Melvin tensed. "What about it?" "Just wondering if you ever did anything with it. It might be worth something now." For a moment, Melvin considered telling his oldest friend everything about the 10,000 Bitcoin, about the fortune he'd kept secret and the power he held but never wielded. Instead, he picked up his wrench and slid back under the waiting car. "Nah," he said, his voice echoing off the undercarriage. "Just internet funny money, right?" The rest of the day passed in a blur of oil changes and quick break jobs. Every phone notification made him flinch, wondering if it was Blanca with another transparent lie about working late. Every car that pulled into the lot made him check if it was a silver Mercedes. At closing time, Oliver lingered. "Want to grab a beer?" he asked. "Talk about it." "Can't." Melvin cut him off as he headed to his office. Instead of invoices, he pulled up his crypto wallet again. The familiar string of numbers offered cold comfort as he listened to his fellow mechanics leave for the day. In the darkening shop, surrounded by the tools of his trade, Melvin Richards sat alone with his secret millions, wondering when his family had decided that grease-stained hands weren't good enough to hold on to them. Sunday morning dawned with unusual quiet in the Richards household. Melvin sat at the kitchen table, coffee untouched, watching dust motes dance in the slanted morning light. The usual sounds of church preparations were absent. No rushed breakfast, no arguments about ties, no scramble for missing books. The click of heels on hardwood announced Blanca's arrival. She emerged from their bedroom dressed not in her usual Sunday best, but in a tailored brunch outfit. "It's time to talk," she announced calmly. "The kids and I need to talk to you." Footsteps on the stairs revealed Troy and Christine, both dressed with the same polished affluence as their mother. They positioned themselves behind her like statues, their faces masks of practiced indifference. "I've been wondering when this conversation would happen," Melvin said quietly, noticing a thick envelope on the counter that hadn't been there the night before. "Legal documents," by the look of the letterhead peeking out. "Let's not drag this out." Blanca placed the envelope between them. "I want a divorce." The words landed with the weight of a dropped engine block, but Melvin's expression remained unchanged. "I assume Julian helped prepare these papers?" Blanca asked, a flicker of surprise crossing her face. "You knew? Silver Mercedes, late-night meetings, mysterious Lakers tickets." "Give me some credit," Melvin replied evenly. "I fix cars for a living. I'm not blind." "Troy," Blanca snapped, "Julian's everything you're not. Successful, sophisticated, ambitious. He's already arranged for us to move into his Beverly Hills estate next week." "Beverly Hills," Melvin echoed, thinking of his hidden crypto wallet worth more than any estate. "And the kids," Troy declared, "we're going with Mom." Chin lifted in defiance. Someone observed, "Why would we stay in this dump with a loser like you?" The word loser echoed in the tense silence. Melvin's hands remained steady as he opened the envelope and scanned the divorce papers inside. The prenuptial agreement they'd signed 17 years ago was attached, a relic from when Blanca's family insisted on protecting their modest assets from the mechanic she'd chosen. "I had my attorney review everything," Blanca added, producing a pin. "Wendell says it's straightforward. I keep my assets, you keep yours." "Wendell Blair?" Melvin asked, recognizing the lawyer's name from local billboards. "Julian's connections again?" Blanca inquired. "Just signed the papers, Dad." Christine's side chimed in while scrolling on her phone. "We've got brunch reservations at the Ivy." Melvin studied his children's faces, Troy's contempt, Christine's boredom. They had become strangers while he was busy building his secret fortune. He thought of his crypto wallet and the power he held to shock them into silence. One bank statement could shatter their assumptions, crush their smugness, change everything. Instead, he picked up the pin. No fight over assets. Wendell Blair asked hours later in his downtown office, surprised by Melvin's calm acceptance. No claims against Mrs. Dyer's investments with Mr. Dyer. Let her keep her assets, Melvin replied as he signed the final page. I'll keep mine. Blanca's triumphant smile faltered slightly at his calm. That's it? After all these years, you're just letting go. Isn't that what you wanted? Melvin stood, straightening his old jacket. A clean break. Dad, Troy called. Melvin reached the door. For a moment, doubt flickered in his son's eyes. That's really all you have to say? Melvin paused, hand on the doorknob. The truth burned in his throat. About the Bitcoin, about the millions, about the future he could give them. But he looked at his family, dressed in expensive clothes and clustered around Julian Dyer's polished presence, and saw the choice they had already made. Your mother's right, he said finally. You deserve the life you want. The life I apparently couldn't provide. The door closed with a soft click. In the elevator, Melvin pulled out his phone and checked his crypto wallet one last time. The numbers glowed back at him, a secret fortune that could have changed everything. Or perhaps, he realized as the elevator descended, nothing at all. Outside, Los Angeles traffic flowed past Wendell Blair's prestigious office building. Melvin's old truck sat among the luxury cars like a period at the end of a finished sentence. He climbed in, the familiar scent of motor oil and honest work enveloping him. The radio crackled to life as he turned the key, playing an old song about loss and redemption. Melvin pulled into traffic, leaving behind the polished office tower where his marriage had officially ended. His phone buzzed with messages, probably Oliver checking in. Maybe his soon-to-be ex-family were making final demands. He let them go unanswered, driving instead toward his auto shop. There was work to be done, cars to be fixed, and a future to be built, just not the one anyone expected. The gleaming glass facade of the Los Angeles Convention Center reflected the morning sun as Melvin adjusted his newly purchased suit. 6 months had passed since the divorce, and the annual Blockchain Technology Summit marked his first step into a world far removed from engine grease and repair manuals. At his first crypto conference, a man in his early 30s dropped into the seat beside him during the morning keynote. His laptop displayed complex code sequences. I'm Brad Rivos, he said. That obvious, huh? Melvin smiled, noting Brad's casual confidence. Brad gestured to his own jeans and hoodie ensemble. We're all about breaking traditional finance norms here. Though I have to say, your wallet address made quite a splash in our developer forums last week. Melvin tensed. My wallet? Relax, Brad lowered his voice. The beauty of blockchain is transparency. When a dormant whale wallet from 2010 suddenly shows signs of life, people notice. Not many holders from that era still have their keys. Before Melvin could respond, the keynote speaker announced a break. Brad pulled out a business card. I've got an idea I'd like to run by you. Something that could revolutionize blockchain security. Over lunch in a quiet corner of the conference hall, Brad outlined his vision. His fingers flew across his laptop, showing prototype code for a security protocol that could protect crypto assets from rising digital threats. The technology is solid, Brad explained. But I need someone who understands both the old and new worlds of finance, someone who was there in the early days. And you think that's me? Asked Melvin. I think you're someone who sees value others miss, Brad said, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Plus, my background check showed you own an auto repair shop. That tells me you understand systems, troubleshooting, and most importantly, you'd know how to build trust. The conference room emptied, leaving them surrounded by abandoned coffee cups and program booklets. Melvin studied Brad's prototype, recalling nights spent learning blockchain technology while his family slept. Why me? There are bigger investors out there. Because you're not just an investor, Brad replied. He closed his laptop. You're a builder. I saw your transaction patterns, small, regular Bitcoin purchases over the years that show patience, vision, and an understanding that value isn't just about quick profits. A notification lit up Melvin's phone. A news alert about Julian Dyer's latest investment success. He silenced it without reading further. "When can you start?" Melvin asked. 3 months later, Brad replied. 3 months later, their blockchain security firm occupied the 10th floor of a downtown high-rise. Brad's team of developers worked alongside former cybersecurity experts, creating something unprecedented in the crypto space. "Mr. Richard." His new assistant's voice came through the intercom. "Iris Casey from Financial Dynamics magazine is here for your appointment." The journalist wasn't what Melvin expected. Instead of the aggressive reporter he anticipated, Iris carried herself with quiet intensity. "Thank you for agreeing to meet," she began. "Though I suspect you know why I'm here. Enlighten me." She placed a document on his desk. "Blockchain transaction records. Your wallet holds one of the largest private Bitcoin fortunes in existence, yet until 6 months ago, it sat untouched for years. Now you're launching a security firm that's attracting attention from major crypto exchanges. You've done your homework. The interesting part isn't the money." Iris leaned forward. "It's the timing. While most early Bitcoin holders were selling, you were quietly buying through market crashes, through mining reward fluctuations, through every setback. You kept accumulating." Melvin studied her carefully. "What's your angle, Miss Casey?" "The truth." She met his gaze steadily. "The crypto world is full of overnight successes and spectacular failures. But you're neither. You're something far more interesting. Patient capital that finally decided to move." Brad knocked and entered, carrying fresh security protocol tests. He stopped short at seeing the journalist. "Sorry, I didn't realize," he said. "No, stay," Iris said, her eyes lighting up at the sight of the code on his tablet. "I'd love to hear about the technical side." For the next hour, Brad explained their security innovations, while Melvin shared his vision for making cryptocurrency safer and more accessible. Iris's questions were sharp and informed, showing a genuine understanding of blockchain technology. As the interview wound down, she asked one final question. Why come out of the shadows now? Why not stay anonymous like Satoshi? Melvin walked to his office window, looking out at the city where his old life felt increasingly distant. Because sometimes staying hidden means staying small. I'm done with that. After she left, Brad lingered. You sure about this? Once your article runs, everything changes. Everything already has, Melvin replied, turning back to his desk where a framed photo once showed his family. Now it displayed the Bitcoin white paper. Time to build something new, he thought. His phone buzzed with another news alert about dire social appearances. This time, he didn't just silence it. He deleted it entirely, focusing on the security protocol specifications Brad had brought. In the distance, barely visible, stood his auto repair shop, a reminder of where he had started. But up here, surrounded by the hum of servers and endless blockchain possibilities, Melvin Richard was finally building the future he'd always seen coming. 5 years transformed the 10th floor into a testament to digital success. Melvin's blockchain security firm now occupied the entire building, its logo glowing against the Los Angeles skyline. The auto repair shop remained below, serving as an innovation lab where Brad's team tested hardware security modules. Mr. Richard. His new assistant's voice came through the intercom. Iris Casey from Financial Dynamics magazine is here for your appointment. The journalist wasn't what Melvin expected. She was calm, her notebook already open. Thank you for meeting me, she began. I suspect you know why I'm here. Please, enlighten me. She placed a document on his desk with blockchain transaction records. Your wallet holds one of the largest private Bitcoin fortunes in existence. Yet until 6 months ago, it sat untouched for years. Now you're launching a security firm that's attracting major crypto exchanges. You've done your homework. The interesting part isn't the money, Iris continued. It's the timing. While most early Bitcoin holders were selling, you were quietly buying through market crashes, Through every setback, you kept accumulating. Melvin studied her carefully. What's your angle, Miss Casey? The truth, she said steadily. The crypto world is full of overnight successes and spectacular failures. But you're neither. You're something far more interesting. Patient capital that finally decided to move. Brad knocked again and entered, carrying fresh security protocol tests. When can you start? Melvin asked. 3 months later, Brad replied. 3 months later, their blockchain security firm occupied the 10th floor of a downtown high-rise. Brad's team of developers and former cybersecurity experts were creating something unprecedented in the crypto space. An urgent message came. Iris Casey from Financial Dynamics magazine is here for your appointment. The journalist, calm and intense, stated, "Your wallet holds one of the largest private Bitcoin fortunes. Until 6 months ago, it sat untouched. Now you're launching a firm that's attracting major crypto exchanges. The interesting part isn't the money, it's the timing." Iris leaned forward. While most early Bitcoin holders were selling, you were quietly buying through market crashes. Melvin studied her carefully. What's your angle, Miss Casey? The truth, she said steadily. You're neither an overnight success, nor a spectacular failure. You're something far more interesting. A notification interrupted them. A news alert about Julian Dyer's latest investment success. Melvin silenced it. He and Brad then moved on to discuss how their technology would protect crypto assets from digital threats. As the day passed, more news came in about Julian Dyer. Reports detailed that he had been paying old investors with funds from new ones, a classic Ponzi scheme. Hope Daniel, who had arrived earlier, unraveled the scheme in real time with Brad's team. They traced the money through a maze of shell companies and offshore accounts. Classic Ponzi structure, Brad explained. He used crypto exchanges to wash funds, then reintroduced them as investment returns. Most victims don't realize their profits are just other people's principal. How many victims? Melvin asked. Hundreds, Hope said, her voice cracking. Including everyone at your ex-wife's firm. Julian convinced them to invest their retirement funds, promising guaranteed returns. She pulled up internal documents showing massive withdrawals scheduled for the coming week. He's preparing to run. Once these transfers clear, there will be nothing left. Melvin studied the transaction schedules. We need verification, something that will stand up in court. Already on it, Brad said as he pulled up another screen. I know a PI who specializes in financial fraud. Ex-FBI works with an SEC agent named Enrique Avery. Make the call. Within the hour, Enrique Avery arrived, a former federal agent whose casual demeanor belied razor-sharp instincts. He spread Hope's evidence across the conference room table and cross-referenced it with his own sources. Your assistants, right? Enrique confirmed, looking up from his tablet. This is probably the largest private investment fraud I've seen since Madoff. But Julian's smart. He's learned from others' mistakes. Can you prove it? With what she's provided? Melvin asked. Enrique gestured to Hope's documents. It's a start, but we need more bank records, internal communications, and client lists. I have access to the firm's servers, Hope offered, but only until they process my resignation tomorrow morning. Brad cracked his knuckles. Give me 4 hours with those servers. I'll build a blockchain analysis tool to track every transaction. The night blurred into a frenzy of activity. Brad's team wrote code while Enrique's contacts at the SEC stood ready. Hope guided them through Bradford and Associates' digital infrastructure, her insider knowledge proving invaluable. As dawn broke over Los Angeles, Enrique spread the completed evidence portfolio across Melvin's desk. It's all here, he announced grimly. Wire transfers, fake account statements, the whole scheme. Julian's been paying old investors with new investors' money and skimming millions off the top. When this breaks, everyone loses everything, Hope finished, including your children's college funds. Julian convinced Blanca to invest all their assets with him. Melvin stared at the awakening city below, remembering Troy's sneering dismissal, Christine's contempt, and Blanca's certainty she'd chosen the better man. "How long?" Melvin asked. "Days, maybe hours," Enrique replied. "Once those withdrawals start, we must move fast." Brad leaned forward. "We could use our blockchain tools to freeze his crypto assets before he transfers them offshore." "No," Melvin said firmly. "We do this right. Everything documented, everything legal." He turned to Enrique. "How quickly can you get this to your SEC contacts? I can have a team here by noon." "Do it," Melvin instructed, looking at the evidence of Julian's fraud, the same documents that would shatter his ex-family's gilded life. They had chosen this path, and now they'd learn where it leads. As his team mobilized, Melvin moved to his private office. Through the window he could see his old auto repair shop, the place where he first learned the value of honest work. The irony wasn't lost on him. The mechanic they dismissed as beneath them now held the evidence of their downfall. His phone lit up with a message from Iris Casey. "Heard rumors about Bradford and Associates. Need to talk." "Not yet," he typed back. "But soon. Very soon." Across multiple financial news networks, the headline exploded. "Bradford and Associates CEO Julian Dyer arrested in massive investment fraud." Melvin watched from his penthouse office as the story unfolded on every screen. Each channel raced to outdo the others with revelations about the scandal's scope. The SEC had raided their offices an hour ago, and Brad reported from his tablet. They're calling it the largest investment fraud case of the decade. Estimated losses over $2 billion. News feeds showed Julian being led away in handcuffs, his perfectly tailored suit creased from the early morning arrest. Behind him, FBI agents carry boxes of documents from Bradford and Associates headquarters. "Mr. Richard," his assistant's voice came through the intercom. "Hope Daniel is here with the latest updates from the SEC task force." Hope rushed in, her former polish replaced by focused intensity. "They've frozen all assets connected to Bradford and Associates. The forensic accountants are already going through everything we provided." "What about the clients?" Melvin asked, though he already knew. "Total devastation." Hope pulled up a preliminary report on her tablet. Julian convinced most clients to consolidate all their investments with him. Some lost their entire life savings. The Beverly Hills estate, all the properties marketed as investment opportunities, are being seized. A different alert caught Melvin's attention. The local news broadcast showed familiar faces. Through the station's cameras, he watched his ex-family being escorted from the Beverly Hills mansion. Christine, now a high school senior, clutched her designer bags while Troy, home from his first semester at USC, argued with federal agents. "All their assets are frozen," Brad confirmed quietly. The investigators had found Blanca's signature on several key investment documents. "She'll be questioned," someone said, "though it looks like she was another victim." The elevator chimed, announcing Iris Casey's arrival. The financial journalist who had followed Melvin's rise in the crypto world now had an even bigger story. "I need your statement," she said without preamble, her recorder already running. "You were Julian Dyer's connection to this world before he married your ex-wife. Did you see any signs of the fraud?" "No comment," Melvin replied, but gestured for her to stay. They had an understanding. She'd gained exclusive access to his legitimate success story, and now she would have the first detailed account of Julian's downfall. His phone buzzed with notifications. Social media exploded with updates from his children. Christine's Instagram story showed her tearfully packing her things. Troy's Twitter feed had gone from boasting about his privileged lifestyle to radio silence. "The SEC wants to interview you," Hope mentioned after checking her messages. "As Julian's former connection to the investment world, they need to establish your non-involvement," Melvin instructed. "Schedule it, and get our legal team to prepare all documentation showing the complete separation of our assets since the divorce." Brad's team worked through the day, providing blockchain analysis that traced Julian's complex web of cryptocurrency transactions. Each revelation painted a picture of calculated deception spanning years. "Look at this," Brad said, pointing to a transaction timeline. He started small, using early investors' profits to draw in bigger fish. By the time he met your ex-wife, he was already running out of ways to sustain the scheme. News coverage continued unabated, interviews with devastated clients, financial experts analyzing the scheme's structure, and social commentators discussing its impact on Beverly Hills' elite social circle. Through it all, Melvin watched his ex-family's carefully constructed world crumble. "Their tuition payments have been flagged," Hope reported late in the afternoon. USC's financial office is reviewing Troy's enrollment, and Christine's private school has already suspended her attendance pending payment verification. Iris, who had been quietly observing and taking notes, finally spoke up. "The contrast is striking. While they're being evicted from their mansion, you're sitting in your penthouse office, your blockchain empire more valuable than ever." Planning to comment on the irony? "No," Melvin replied, turning to the wall of screens showing the ongoing coverage. "The story isn't about me. It was in a way. Every report mentioned my connection. I'm the ex-husband who chose a different path, who built legitimate success while Julian constructed his house of cards." "Sir," his assistant called through the intercom, "your ex-wife's name is trending on social media. Several news vans are gathering outside the Beverly Hills property." Melvin watched another broadcast showing Blanca being escorted to a waiting car. Her designer sunglasses couldn't hide her distress. The same woman who had dismissed his internet funny money years ago now faced the collapse of her financial world. "The SEC scheduled an interview for tomorrow morning," Hope confirmed. "They'll want to know about any conversations you had with Julian during the divorce proceedings. Give them everything," Melvin instructed. "Every document, every interaction, every detail showing we had no part in his fraud." As evening fell over Los Angeles, the screens in his office flashed with updates. Julian's arrest, the frozen assets, and a growing list of victims. His phone remained silent. No desperate calls from his ex-family. No pleas for help. Their pride, it seemed, remained intact even as their world collapsed. Iris packed up her notes and paused at the door. "Need anything else for the story?" Melvin looked at the city lights below and said, "Just make sure you tell the truth. All of it." Iris nodded, understanding the layers in his request. Tomorrow, her exclusive story would run alongside the breaking news of Julian's arrest. The contrast would be unavoidable. That honest mechanic who built a blockchain empire versus the sophisticated fraudster who destroyed countless lives. In his penthouse office, Melvin Richards sat silently, watching his ex-family's perfect world crumble on live television. Their fall was as public as their rise had been elegant. The lesson about true value and honest work had come at a devastating price. Manuel Lamb studied the cascade of desperate messages flooding his clients' communication channels. As Melvin Richards' financial advisor, he had helped structure the crypto empire's rapid expansion. But this morning's task was more personal. "Another call from Troy," Manuel reported, tablet in hand. "That's the 5th one this week. Christine's Instagram has shifted from her usual content to public appeals for help, and Mrs. Dyer has been reaching out through every mutual contact." Melvin stood at his office window, the same spot where he had watched Julian's arrest led 3 weeks ago. "Show me," he ordered. Manuel pulled up Troy's latest voicemail. The speaker filled the room with his son's desperate voice. "Dad, please. We need help. Mom's a mess. We're about to be homeless. The FBI seized everything. They're saying Julian used our accounts to move money around. I can't even access my tuition payment for next semester. Please call me back." Switching screens, Manuel displayed Christine's Instagram feed. Gone were the poolside photos at the Beverly Hills mansion, replaced by frantic posts asking, "Can anyone help? We have nowhere to go. All our accounts are frozen. Mom can't stop crying. Dad, if you're seeing this, please help." Mrs. Dyer has been particularly persistent, Manuel added, scrolling through messages. She's contacted Oliver at the auto shop, Brad at the office, even tried reaching Iris Casey to arrange an interview. What do you make of all this? Melvin asked, though his slight smile suggested he already knew his advisor's thoughts. Manuel raised an eyebrow, a gesture perfected over years of navigating the crypto market's volatility. I assume you have a plan, he asked. Pull up the Forbes article draft. The document appeared on the wall screen, a comprehensive piece Iris had been working on for months, titled From Mechanic to Crypto Billionaire: The Incredible Journey of Melvin Richard. It's ready to publish whenever you give the word, Manuel noted. The timing was interesting. A notification chimed, a message from Blanca via Hope Daniel. Melvin, please. We've lost everything. The courts have frozen even my personal accounts. Troy might have to drop out of USC. Christine's private school is demanding payment. We don't even have enough for a security deposit on an apartment. Show me the Beverly Hills property listings, Melvin instructed. Manuel complied, and Julian's seized mansion appeared on screen, now listed for auction by federal authorities. The auctions are next week, Manuel reported. Given the circumstances, the property will likely sell well below market value. Have our real estate team prepare a bid. And contact Gerard Mahoney, Melvin added. Tell him to prepare the paperwork for establishing a charitable foundation. Manuel's face lit with understanding. A shelter for victims of financial fraud, he said. Fitting. Don't you think the house Julian used to showcase his stolen wealth could be transformed into a refuge for those he destroyed? Another series of notifications lit up the screens. Christine's latest Instagram story showed her packing designer clothes into cardboard boxes. Troy's university email confirmed his enrollment was under review due to unpaid fees. Blanca's attempts to reach out now included a desperate message to Brad Rivas, pleading for an introduction to her ex-husband. Your children, Manuel said carefully. They're trying every channel to reach you. Yes, Melvin replied, turning from the window. And soon they'll understand something about karma. Have Flora Watson prepare for Mrs. Dyer's inevitable visit, he instructed. She'll try to come in person once all other avenues fail. What should Flora tell her? Manuel replied, nothing yet, but have an envelope ready. Just a single sheet with a Bitcoin address and transaction record. Manuel's tablet chimed with another update. Troy's voicemail was making rounds on social media. The press was starting to notice the contrast. Julian Dyer's stepchildren begging for help from the father they had rejected. Perfect timing for the Forbes article, Manuel observed. Wouldn't you say? The financial advisor studied his client's composed expression. This is you at your most dangerous. Not angry, not vengeful, but methodically orchestrating a lesson your family will never forget. Should I have Gerard begin drafting the legal changes as well? Melvin asked. Yes, Manuel replied. The foundation will need proper funding. Melvin returned to his desk, where a small photo frame held the only remaining image of his children from before wealth and status had poisoned their hearts. Let's show them what real success looks like. As Manuel left to execute the plans, another wave of notifications arrived, each a digital reminder of his family's desperation, each message more frantic than the last. Melvin let them accumulate, unmuted and unread, like gathering storm clouds before the deluge. The sun set over Los Angeles, casting long shadows across the office where a former mechanic sat, planning his masterpiece of karmic justice. In his private garage below, beside the Lamborghini he rarely drove, his old toolbox waited, a reminder that some lessons about honest work and true value come at a devastating price. The Forbes article landed with the precision of a calculated strike. Flora Watson, Melvin's executive assistant, watched digital metrics explode across her monitors as the story went viral. From mechanic to crypto billionaire, trended across every platform. The headline was accompanied by a striking photo of Melvin in a bespoke suit, standing before his blockchain empire's headquarters. Mr. Richard, Flora's voice carried through the intercom. "Mrs. Dyer is in the lobby. She's quite insistent." Through the security feed, Melvin watched his ex-wife pace the marble floors. Gone were the designer clothes and the perfectly manicured appearance. Blanca's haunted eyes darted between her phone, displaying the Forbes article, and the elevator leading to Melvin's office. "Security is standing by," Flora added. "Should I have them escort her out?" "No," Melvin said, adjusting his tie. "The same one from the Forbes photo. Follow the protocol we discussed." Flora emerged from her desk and approached Blanca. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Dyer, but Mr. Richard isn't available right now. However, he asked me to give you this." The cream-colored envelope felt heavy in Blanca's trembling hands. She tore it open, revealing a single page with a Bitcoin address and transaction record. Her eyes widened as she processed the numbers. The fortune she had once dismissed as mere internet novelty lay bare in cold digital clarity. This is impossible," Blanca whispered, sinking into a lobby chair. "All these years, the records are quite clear," Flora replied in a professional tone. "That wallet has been active since 2010. Long before the divorce, the security feed captured Blanca's crumpling expression as realization dawned. Every sneering comment about her ex-husband's profession, every dismissal of his crypto investments, every moment their children had mocked his common work, all while he quietly built a fortune that dwarfed Julian's stolen wealth. Blanca stood, her composure cracking. "I need to speak with him," she said. "Troy's university deadline is tomorrow. Christine's school is demanding payment, and we're sleeping in a motel. Mr. Richard's schedule is fully booked." Flora responded, gesturing to a wall screen displaying news of his latest blockchain initiative. "Perhaps you've seen the announcements about his charitable foundation." The elevator dinged again, revealing Brad Rivas carrying prototype designs for their newest security protocol. He faltered at the sight of Blanca, but recovered quickly. "Mrs. Dyer," he nodded, then turned to Flora. "Is he ready for the foundation meeting?" "Yes," Flora replied. "The legal team is already upstairs finalizing the trust for underprivileged youth education." Blanca's phone buzzed. A message from Christine showed a final warning from her school. The contrast between her current reality and the empire her ex-husband had built struck her like a blow. Flora replied, "The article says he's been advising major crypto exchanges on security protocols." "All while we thought that success took many forms," Flora continued, picking up the Forbes magazine from her desk. The magazine showed Melvin's cover photo, capturing the quiet confidence of a man who'd built something real. Meanwhile, through the security feed, Melvin watched Blanca clutch the envelope containing proof of his early Bitcoin investments, the same investments she had once mocked around their kitchen table. The lobby television played a financial news segment featuring Iris Casey. "What makes the Melvin Richards story remarkable isn't just the wealth," Iris explained on air. "It's the foundation of honest work it's built upon. While others chased quick riches, he combined traditional business ethics with blockchain innovation." Blanca's gaze fixed on the screen, finally seeing her ex-husband in a new light. The man she had dismissed for someone more sophisticated had transformed into a titan of a new financial era. "When did he first buy the Bitcoin?" she asked in a trembling voice. "According to public blockchain records," Brad answered, unable to resist. "Around the same time you told him to stick to fixing cars." The elevator dinged again, and this time Hope Daniel emerged, now carrying a director's badge for Melvin's charitable organization. She paused at the sight of Blanca. Their roles had dramatically reversed from the days when Blanca had been Julian's prestigious wife. "The foundation board is waiting," Hope informed Flora, purposefully avoiding Blanca's gaze. "They're excited about the plans for educational initiatives in blockchain technology." Blanca stared at the transaction record in her hands, proof that while she had chased status through Julian's fraudulent wealth, her ex-husband had been quietly revolutionizing digital finance. Flora's voice came through the intercom, ensuring Blanca could hear. "Please remind the board that our mission is helping those who have lost everything to financial fraud. We must ensure the shelter opens on schedule." The words hung in the air as Blanca realized the full scope of his plans. Her phone buzzed again with Troy's latest plea for help, a stark contrast to the news alerts about his father's billion-dollar empire. Flora's voice softened. "I believe you've received everything Mr. Richard wanted to share." The security team stepped forward as a clear signal. Blanca clutched the envelope, her last connection to the fortune she had once dismissed. As the lobby doors closed behind her, screens displayed Melvin's latest accomplishment, his blockchain security firm stock soaring as investors recognized the real value of what he'd built, not the illusions Julian had sold them. Throughout it all, Melvin watched silently from his office. Beside his cutting-edge crypto mining rigs sat the old toolbox from his mechanic days, a reminder that true worth comes from building something honest and real. The Forbes article continued to spread across social media. Each share was a digital echo of the lesson Blanca was learning too late. Sometimes the greatest wealth lies in what others are too proud to see. The auctioneer's gavel fell with a decisive crack. Julian Dyer's seized Beverly Hills mansion was sold to the Richards Foundation for Financial Education. A property that once symbolized fraudulent wealth now had a new owner. Iris Casey captured the moment for her follow-up article, her camera catching Melvin's expression as he signed the closing documents. Former clients of Bradford and Associates watched with mixed emotions as the property changed hands. "The shelter will accommodate up to 50 families affected by financial fraud," Melvin announced to the gathered press. "Our focus is providing not just housing but education in financial literacy and blockchain technology." Gerard Mahoney, his attorney, distributed press packets detailing the foundation's mission. "The facility will open next month," he explained, carefully avoiding mention of the property's former owners. "We're already reviewing applications from affected families." Across the street, partially hidden behind a news van, Blanca watched the proceedings. Her designer handbag had been replaced by a worn leather purse. Behind her, Troy and Christine lingered uncertainly, their former home now a symbol of their fall. A reporter called out, "Mr. Richard, your own children are victims of this fraud. Will they be eligible for the shelter services?" A hush fell over the crowd. Melvin adjusted his tie. The same one from the Forbes photo shoot. "The Foundation's board will review all applications without bias," he stated. "However, I have made other arrangements regarding my personal legacy." Gerard stepped forward, producing a stack of legal documents. "I have been authorized to announce changes to Mr. Richards' estate planning. The primary beneficiaries will be the charitable foundation and a trust dedicated to providing technical education for underprivileged youth." The implications were not lost on anyone. Troy's phone slipped from his fingers, clattering on the sidewalk as he processed the news. Christine's attempted live stream faltered as tears blurred her vision. Brad Rivas guided a group of tech students through the mansion's newly renovated West Wing. "This will be our coding lab," he explained. "We're teaching blockchain development, cryptography, and financial technology. Tools for building legitimate wealth." Hope Daniel, now the Foundation's outreach director, organized the first group of families preparing to move in. Standing where Julian had once hosted lavish parties, she announced, "We're turning a symbol of fraud into a beacon of hope." Iris Casey moved through the crowd, gathering quotes for her piece. "The contrast is powerful," she noted on her recorder. A documentary crew set up in the former ballroom. Flora Watson informed Melvin, "Your documentary crew is ready." Melvin nodded, straightening his jacket. The cameras rolled as he delivered his message. "Success isn't about the money you have. It's about the character you build." Some lessons come too late. Outside, Blanca watched as her former neighbors arrived with their children, not for a social gathering, but for shelter intake interviews. At the Valley stand where Julian's Mercedes had once parked now hung a sign. "Free financial literacy classes. Evening sessions available." Troy made one final attempt, approaching Brad near the entrance. "Please just tell him we understand now. We were wrong." "Applications for the education program are available online," Brad replied professionally. The foundation reviews each case individually. Christine's last post from the property showed a humbled young woman facing the consequences of misplaced values. As the sun set over Beverly Hills, the mansion's lights illuminated a new reality, where Julian's stolen wealth was replaced by hope. In his penthouse office, Melvin reviewed the foundation's latest impact report. The data showed thousands of lives rebuilt and millions in legitimate wealth created through honest work and digital innovation. Beside his desk, that old wrench still held its place of honor, a reminder that true value isn't in what you own, but in what you build. In the private garage of his penthouse across town, Melvin placed his old toolbox beside his Lamborghini. The tools were worn but honest, like the hands that had built his empire while others chased illusions. He picked up a wrench, its weight familiar in his calloused palm, a reminder that true success leaves no room for pride or pretense, only the quiet satisfaction of work well done. The security feed showed his ex-family finally leaving the property, their shoulders heavy with understanding. Behind them, the mansion's new sign gleamed: Richard's Foundation for Financial Education, building futures through digital literacy. Their place in his will was now occupied by those who understood the value of honest work. In the end, the mechanic they had dismissed had engineered not only his rise, but their most important lesson. Karma, like blockchain, keeps an immutable record of every transaction. A decade had passed since the Richards Foundation transformed Julian Dyer's Beverly Hills mansion into a beacon of hope. The Los Angeles Times 10th anniversary feature opened with a striking comparison, a split image of the property then and now. On one side, Julian Dyer's gaudy showcase of stolen wealth. On the other, a thriving educational center that had helped thousands rebuild their lives. 10 years of transformation. The Richards legacy, the headline read. Iris Casey, now editor-in-chief of Financial Dynamics magazine, reviewed archived footage for an upcoming documentary. Julian Dyer, once the toast of Beverly Hills society, appeared on screen in his prison jumpsuit during a parole hearing. Denied for the third time, Iris narrated, "The man who orchestrated one of the largest Ponzi schemes in Los Angeles history continues serving his 25-year sentence at a federal institution in Lompoc." The camera panned to Blanca Dyer, Julian's last victim of deception. The footage showed her leaving a small apartment in Van Nuys, her once perfect appearance replaced by the worn look of someone who had learned life's hardest lessons. She worked as a receptionist at a local dental office, her former executive assistant credentials tarnished by association with the Bradford scandal. Mrs. Dyer declined our request for an interview. Iris noted in her article, "Sources say she still attends weekly financial literacy classes at a community center, though notably not at the Richards Foundation, where her application was declined 5 years ago." Across town, in a bustling USC classroom, Professor Brad Rivas lectured on blockchain security. "And that's why verification is crucial," he explained to his students. "Just ask Troy Richards Dyer, though you may have to visit the downtown branch of AutoZone to do it." The classroom rippled with understanding. Troy's fall from a privileged USC student to an auto parts store clerk had become a cautionary tale in Brad's lectures. After losing his enrollment, Troy struggled through community college, his dreams of high finance shattered by the reality of his stepfather's crimes. Christine's story took a different turn. The security feed at the Richards Foundation occasionally captured her attending public blockchain seminars, sitting quietly in the back. Her social media influence had evaporated with her family's wealth, but she slowly rebuilt a modest following sharing stories of financial responsibility and the dangers of material obsession. The foundation had graduated over 5,000 students from its crypto education program, Hope Daniel reported during the anniversary celebration. "I've watched families rebuild their lives through honest work and digital literacy. Many of our earliest residents now work in legitimate fintech firms." Melvin's empire had grown beyond cryptocurrency. The Richards blockchain security protocol had become the industry standard, protecting digital assets worth billions. Yet his old auto repair shop remained operational, now serving as both a working garage and a training facility. The most valuable lesson, Manuel Lamb explained to a group of foundation trustees, is not about getting rich. It's about building something real. He had watched Melvin's wealth multiply, but more importantly, he'd seen the impact of karma delivered through calculated kindness. Oliver Fink, retired from active mechanics yet still a regular at the shop, often shared stories with new apprentices. "I remember when he worked under these same lifts," Oliver would say. He'd point to the spot where Melvin first checked his crypto wallet and remind us that character counts. In her corner office, Iris reviewed recent photographs. Flora Watson, still Melvin's executive assistant, coordinated the foundation's expanding initiatives. Gerard Mahoney's legal team had just finished establishing the 20th regional chapter of the education program. One poignant image showed Christine volunteering at a foundation event, not as a Richards, but as an anonymous helper learning the values her father had tried to teach her. Her application to the foundation's mentorship program sat pending on Hope's desk, marked for review. Through it all, Melvin Richard maintained his dual legacy. The Forbes Blockchain 50 cover showed him in another impeccable suit, yet every Saturday he still visited his garage to teach young mechanics about carburetors and cryptocurrency. The mansion had changed more than just its owners. As Reich Avery noted in his FBI retirement speech, it changed how we view success. The documentary footage ended with a quiet scene. Blanca walking past the foundation's gates, pausing to watch students learn about digital finance in what was once her luxury dining room. The camera caught her expression, not bitter, but finally understanding. In the foundation's main hall, where Julian once hosted lavish parties, a simple plaque carried Melvin's message. "True wealth builds others up. False wealth tears everything down." Beside it, a worn toolbox sat in a glass case, a reminder that every empire worth building starts with honest work. Troy's latest job application to the foundation's maintenance team and Christine's mentorship request were now evaluated purely on merit. Flora had flagged them for Melvin's review, but his response remained the same. Let them learn like everyone else. 10 years, Iris concluded in her anniversary piece, have proven that karma, like blockchain, is transparent and immutable. The Richards Foundation stood as a testament not only to one man's success, but to the enduring power of integrity over pretense. As the Los Angeles sun set over the former mansion, a symbol of redemption through education, security cameras caught a familiar scene. Blanca watched from across the street as another group of fraud victims found shelter within its walls. Her designer bags were long gone, replaced by a simple purse containing brochures for various financial literacy programs. In his penthouse office, Melvin reviewed the foundation's latest impact report. The data showed thousands of lives rebuilt and millions in legitimate wealth created through honest work and digital innovation. Beside his desk, that old wrench still held its place of honor, a reminder that true value isn't in what you own, but in what you build. The epilogue of the Richards story played out daily across Los Angeles, in Troy's quiet work at AutoZone, in Christine's cautionary social media posts, and in Blanca's modest apartment overlooking the life she had lost. Julian Dyer's prison cell held only photos of stolen wealth, while Melvin's empire continued growing through the value he had created. Success, as his documentary had stated, isn't about the money you have. It's about the character you build. Some lessons come too late, but for the thousands of students passing through the foundation's doors, learning the right lessons at the right time, Melvin's carefully orchestrated justice had transformed into something far more valuable. Redemption through education, growth through understanding, and the quiet satisfaction of karma served not cold, but with opportunity for change. In his private garage, Melvin taught his youngest group of apprentices. The Lamborghini gleamed beside them, but it was the worn toolbox that commanded attention. Like blockchain itself, some truths remain immutable. Character outlasts wealth, integrity outlives pretense, and the sweetest reward is a life well lived. Thanks to everyone who took the time to listen to today's stories. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share your thoughts on the events in the comments below. Take care.